My name's Jordan McCants. I'm a recovering alcoholic, a recovering drug addict, and I am the owner of Road B, which is a recovery clothing line. Guess I'll tell you a little bit of what it was like, what happened, what it's like now. I came from a good family. Unlike a lot of alcoholics and a lot of addicts, my parents did everything they could to make it so I didn't end up exactly the way I ended up when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. But, you know, I had a lot of addictive tendencies and alcoholic tendencies even when I was a little boy. You know, I always, everything that I liked, I would do it not for minutes at a time, but for days, for weeks, for months at a time. Everything that I liked even a little bit, I fell in love with. And I just wanted to completely just enshroud myself in whatever it was. And it got bad when I was probably, I don't know, 15, 16, somewhere around those mid-teen years. Fell in with an interesting crowd, you know, some kids that were a lot cooler than I was myself, and a girl that was a lot better than I thought I deserved, and I wanted to impress these people, and they were all doing adult things like, you know, drinking and smoking and doing all that stuff, so that's what I wanted to do, because I wanted to fit in. And I tried. I fit in for a little bit, but I went off the rocker really fast. The first year that I smoked marijuana, I was injecting heroin, so I don't know what it was, but it set something off in my brain, and I just went on a downward spiral just faster than anybody, you know, and it turned me into a person that I should have never been. My relationships with those friends, my relationships with my brothers, my relationships with my girlfriend, you know, I lost all those things. And it's funny because I started just to have all those things, but I don't know. Eventually I was by myself. Between the time that I was 18 and the time that I was 20, I went to jail plenty of times. I don't know how many. I went to Summit County a couple times. I went to Wayne County, and I don't know. It was interesting because I would always end up in jail or end up in a holding cell or something like that, and I would be sick. You know, I'd be coming off all the drugs and the alcohol and all that stuff, and I would feel absolutely terrible. You know, I'm throwing up, and I'm hot, and I'm cold, and I'm sweating, and all that stuff, and all I could think was, I can't wait to get out of here and do the exact same thing that put me in here in the first place. So I don't know. I guess it was a little bit of insanity, but I just didn't see it. You know, I couldn't picture a different way of life. The people that I did hang out with, when I hung out with people, were people that were doing the exact same thing I was doing, so I thought it was normal. You know, I didn't think I didn't know about people like you guys, because all I hung out with was the drug addicts and the alcoholics and the people that had serious problems. So I thought it was normal, everything I was doing. I didn't want to get sober at all. You know, there were times when I didn't want the consequences, but, you know, in all honesty, I never got sick of getting high or got sick of getting drunk. I just got sick of getting in trouble. So my last arrest on the streets, I was actually in Kenmore. I was walking over a bridge we call the Viaduct. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that, and I'm walking, you know, I got my pants sagging, I'm wearing the 4XL hoodie like everyone's doing, you know, we thought we were the cool kids, and I'm walking, and a cruiser passes me by, and I'm thinking, like, you know, la-di-da, I'm minding my business, they don't have probable cause, nothing bad's gonna happen, and they turn around, and they tell me to get on the ground, interlock my fingers in the back of my head and all that stuff, and I'm trying to sound innocent, right? So I'm like, what's going on, officer? I don't understand what the problem is. And they told me I matched the description of someone that assaulted an officer. Which I don't think I did. I don't know. I was in a haze, but I'm pretty sure that never happened. But what was interesting is it's the same cops that arrested me, I don't know, 2 or 3 times before that. And I hated them for that. You know, the whole time I was in jail, the whole time I was going through all the stuff they put me through, I hated them. But it's funny because today I realize, you know, they saved my life. And I wish I could thank them for that. They put me in a program. It's called the Felony Drug Court Program. It was at Summit County, I think, is where they do that. I had Teodosio as my judge, and he presented it to me pretty much like this, you know. All you have to do is don't drink, don't do any drugs, and we're going to wipe this felony off your record. I got caught with heroin. That's a pretty serious charge. But he gave me this alternative. All I had to do was not drink and not do drugs like normal people, you know, and not get in trouble, and everything was going to go away. You know, to a normal person, this is a deal, jackpot, you got it. But for me, it's just, you know, what an order. I can't go through with it. But I gave it a chance. Because the alternative was jail. That didn't sound fun. But I managed to try to play the system for a little bit. You know, I would take all those things that would clean your urine out, and I would try to time everything. You know, like it's like, all right, so I can drink now, I'm going to do this now, and then I got 16 hours, and then I can pass the drug test. And then after that, I can go ahead and do more, and everything will be okay. I just got to last for this amount of time. That's all I got to do. When the simpler option for anybody that wasn't me was just don't drink or use. But I couldn't picture life that way. Eventually, you know, it didn't work out. I got caught up a couple times. The last time before I went to jail, the final time, which was an in-court arrest, I remember that morning, you know, it was like 4 in the morning. Everything was a mess. My room was a mess. You know, it smelled awful. You know, my life was so flustered. I remember I picked up you know, I had to get high in the morning every day just so I could feel normal, you know, because I was sick without it. And I remember I couldn't find a needle because I had broken mine. And I ended up going to a place where everybody else shot up, and I picked up a needle there. I didn't know whose it was, and I didn't care. I remember, you know, there were bruises all over my arms and all over my feet and everywhere I would usually try to inject myself, and I had nowhere left to go. And I remember stabbing myself over and over again and how painful it was, and I was sweating and I was just aching. And the last thing I said before the last time that I got high was, I don't want to do this. And it's funny because, you know, my whole time going through rehab, I was so positive that I had some power left over my addiction. You know, I could control it, is what I thought. You know, I figured every second that I go without a drug or a drink, I'm exercising my power over them. But I was powerless. They put me in jail. I went through the same stuff. They put me in rehab. You know, they're trying to teach me this stuff, and I'm not listening. I'm there because I have to be there, because it's court ordered, because, you know, I thought it was a punishment. I figure if the judge tells you to do something, it's a punishment. If you do something bad, and then somebody, you know, a judge or a caseworker or a probation officer tells you to do something, I assumed it was a punishment, but it was an option for a better way of life, and I just didn't know that. And I'm going through rehab, and they're saying all these cliches, you know, you're right where you need to be, and keep coming back, and the program works if you work it, take it one day at a time, and I just hated all that, you know. But it's funny because I catch myself saying those same things to people today. I started meeting other people that were in recovery and other people that had achieved sobriety from the hopeless state of mind that I came from. And I would complain to them all the time. And a guy that was pretty much like a mentor to me, he said, before anything else in sobriety, I got to teach you how to have fun in recovery. He said that's more important than anything, which is true. Because we had so much fun when we were using. Don't let anybody lie to you. It's fun out there for a while. But he made it so it was fun for me in sobriety and fun for me in recovery. He took me down to Florida and we did all sorts of stuff that I thought was the stupidest idea ever. He said we're going to ride bikes and kayak and skateboard if you're lucky. And I'm like, that sounds terrible, you know, but but we did all these things. I'm hanging out with sober friends, and you know, for the first time in my life, you know, I found I was genuinely happy. I was laughing until my stomach hurt, and I was having a good time, and there were no drugs or alcohol in the picture. And it was so weird because, you know, as an addict or as an alcoholic, I thought everything was a math equation. You know, I thought the amount of fun that you have is directly proportional to the amount of substance you put in your body. I figured, like, if you take one shot, you're gonna have twice as much fun as if you take half a shot. Or if you drink 4 beers, it's twice as much fun as 2 beers. That's how I thought life worked. But down there, I had nothing in my system, and I had more fun than I ever had in my life. And for once, I thought I could get used to this. And, you know, my relationships with my family started repairing. You know, I was in court, and I remember he asked me if there was anything that I wanted to say to the courtroom, and I turned around, and I realized something had changed, because I said all the things that I hated to hear. You know, I said, one day at a time, keep coming back, you're right where you belong. I said all the stuff those people used to tell me that I used to hate to hear, and I'm sure it bounced right off of them. But then he asked my father, who was in the courtroom with me, if there was anything that he wanted to say. And I remember, I'd never seen my father cry my entire life. You know, he was always just such a man. And I remember he took his glasses off, and I didn't know what he was doing. I was like, why are you taking your glasses off? And he started wiping his eyes, and he started crying, and he thanked the court. And he talked about everything that I thought he didn't know about. You know, he talked about times when I would sneak in the house, my face was bloodied and battered from the deal that went wrong. And he talked about, you know, times I've been thrown out of moving cars and I came home and I could hardly walk, and situations that I didn't know were affecting him. You know, I always thought, like, if I'm hurting somebody with my use, it's myself. But, you know, that was an eye-opening experience and just such a weird feeling, because simultaneously I remember thinking, you know, I felt so guilty for putting him through all the stuff that I put him through, but at the same time I felt so overjoyed that I didn't have to put him through it anymore. I've been sober for a long time now, you know. My last use was March 26th of 2012. My last drink was March 26th of 2012, and I haven't found it necessary to do it again since. And my life has changed, you know, very slowly, but always in the right direction. And, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm a different person. I can't picture doing the things that I used to do. I mean, this isn't that stuff for the camera, but just like personally, like my taste in music is completely switched up. You know, my taste in movies has changed. Like I don't know. I feel like I got a whole new life. I started the Road B clothing line because one of the things that I think is very important is destroying the stigma that sobriety and recovery can't be cool. Because I remember the whole reason that I started was because I wanted to seem cool to a different crowd. And I feel like society just just keeps that going in most instances. You know, the coolest guy in college is always that guy that's at the party that can drink you under the table. Or, you know, nowadays there's all those people that can smoke more weed than the rest, and everybody thinks they're cool, but anybody, you know, if they drink or if they smoke for a long time, they'll be able to drink more or smoke more, but not anybody can completely stop all that stuff, you know? It's not easy to deal with all of your emotions without the chemical crutch. It's not easy to go through life and go through bars without having a drink and go to parties without joining in all the festivities that they're having. But it's so much more rewarding. 2 Sundays ago, a friend of mine, he overdosed on some cut heroin. My girlfriend found him in the bathroom. He had blood coming out of his mouth and his nose. And they were able to recover his pulse, which was absent at the scene when the cops arrived. They brought him back for a little bit, and they had him hooked up to life support. And his family took him off life support on his birthday. Up until that point, he was just having fun, you know. But seeing his family cry and his mother having to deal with that, and you know, all his friends having to deal with that, and you know, I'm sure he had so many goals. I'm sure he had so many dreams. He probably thought, I can just get sober tomorrow, or I can just deal with all this tomorrow. But now he doesn't get a chance because he tried to do it one more time. I just recommend stopping now, because I told myself one more time for years. You don't always get one more time.